Recording it. Okay.
All right, welcome to the Big Black Tent. I'm Lima Frida
Natalie Arsenault, her trusty sidekick, who's eating because they hungry. Okay.
because because there's still crops. I don't know the look because the locusts haven't come.
Because the locusts have not come. You know, they might be
Okay,
on
so
their way though.
I thought I thought yesterday was poignant. Yesterday was very very poignant. We
Okay.
both made a prediction that Trump was going to win,
Mm-hmm. I had on my
and
red glasses. I was sending subliminal messages. I have blue glasses too. I'm telling you.
and 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 here we are. I purposely did not watch any. I went first of all, I went to bed at 9 after we
Yes.
recorded. I went to bed. And I purposely did not watch any playback
I didn't
or
watch anything.
reaction. I didn't watch anything. I think at 5:30, I just opened my phone and said Trump's the winner, and I was like, okay, let's get ready for work. Let's get ready
I
for
didn't
work.
think I did. I will tell you this. I didn't think it was going to resolve so quickly.
Wow, yeah,
I didn't think it was gonna. I thought that well, and that's mainly because if like I said, if the young people would have turned out, Kamala would have won, and then it would have been like all contentious, and we got to do recounts and get the courts involved and all that. So,
right, yeah. That it was pretty clear. It wasn't
hmm
like narrow. It was pretty clear. What I did post this morning was more of what we talked about. My my anger about um half of us being in denial and me likening that to an abusive relationship. Um, and there is a fine line between, because I had this conversation with a couple of people, including my mom. There's a fine line between, I don't want to put that in the atmosphere. I don't want to think negative and accepting the reality of what is.
that's correct.
There's a fine line between that. And um, yeah, so people's shock and disbelief. There was this one post, I don't know if I sent you it, where this guy, I did see this. He said, everything's good. First of all, let me say it's gonna sound bad. So look, get ready to cancel it. It's gonna sound bad, but here we are. So it was a guy who was obviously gay or trans. I'm not sure which one, but he was a feminine man, put it that way. And he had beautiful long hair and he was in a sweater dress and he was saying
You did
everything's
send me this.
fine, everything's going to be okay, everything's, and I was like, yeah, no, it's not. It's not like your soul will be okay, right? But they coming for you.
They are coming. If it's anybody they coming for, if there's
they
an order to this thing, one,
they
two,
they
and
coming
three.
they coming for you. They coming for me too, but they coming for you.
They,
And
mm, yeah. Mm.
so you don't want to speak that out. Is that what it is?
Here's the thing. I don't know. I don't know if the people who they really coming for, like literally, I mean, like absolutely literally, like no, not facetious, not whatever. The people they are literally coming for is anybody who here illegally. If you don't have no papers, they coming for you. Okay?
Yeah. You don't if you don't have any papers, they come. The reason
You
why I
don't.
say that is because the reason I say coming for me, and let me clarify, um, there is a thing about free speech. There is a thing about speaking against anything they don't want you to speak against.
It's true.
And you can say that already exists
It
as far as
does.
the denial we're talking about with the media, how the media
Right.
wouldn't cover both sides of what people truly think and feel.
Right.
Um, um, I just have a real sense that unfortunately, right, when people get in power who feel like they've been ignored, they just get revenge and do the reverse, right? I
Right.
only want to hear good things about Trump, so everybody's silence. It's like a whole Kim Jong. I don't know which. It's gonna sound
Kim
bad
Jong
again. I
Un.
don't know Kim Jong Un. Which one?
Un. Kim Jong
Okay,
Un.
So like, when dictators get up and you can't say anything negative about
Right.
them, I don't think that's too far out of the question.
That is
Um,
true.
yeah, so
And
I mean,
there's there's so there's definitely we definitely have the three branches, right? You got the three branches. They all have their role to play. But that executive branch pen is mighty. And it takes a minute for it correct. So that executive order go into effect immediately, and all the power of the executive branch can be used to execute that. Now, if it's not constitutional or illegal, which is also not constitutional, all the things, um, then you can bring to bear the courts, but that takes time. Somebody gotta file a lawsuit, you gotta get an injunction, you got like it takes time to do all those administrative bureau to work your way through the bureaucracy.
all speed, right? And
All
all
while you behind a chain link fence. That is correct. Looking like this. So,
because we've been here before, right? We've been here before. So that's all I'm saying is that these freedoms that we do have, like saying what you want to say, to an extent, there's always consequences.
right.
Um, but we've seen this with the at least in Texas, right, with the abortion laws.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, so this has been like this a couple years. So
But
I don't see
again,
why. Hmm?
I'm gonna tell you the reason why we're here with the abortion laws is all the liberals' faults. And I'm not
Oh,
saying I'm
do
pro-life or
tell,
pro-choice or whatever.
do tell.
I will say this. When you when you decide to have an overbearing government that inserts itself in everything, meaning fluoride in the water, meaning the food you can and cannot eat, some is too sugary. Stop selling the sugary stuff. We need to put a cancer label on that. We need to like when you start doing those things grow. And instead of you being able to make adult choices about what you want to do with your own life, the government inserts itself into that. And that is where we are right now. It has inserted itself in your doctor's office.
I see. So even legally, they opened the way,
Correct.
right, for this. Okay, well, I can clearly see that when it comes to, I saw today that those for a particular company, I don't know if this is going in a lot of places, but for a particular company, those who are fired for not getting the vaccine can now apply for $1 million lawsuit.
Correct.
So I have to say, this was very interesting. I was like, okay, there's going to be a play against that. When people willingly, in the name of fear, they
In the
were
name
saying
of fear.
science, in the name of fear, were giving up their rights and saying the government can force me to be inoculated
Correct.
or else.
Correct.
Um, I mean, when I tell you the oversight with that got very, very ridiculous. There's a form my
Mm-hmm.
pediatrician I no longer have. Um, because I wouldn't sign a form that said that my child wouldn't take a COVID
Correct.
vaccine,
Mm-hmm.
that like the form literally said, if you are not taking this vaccine or any vaccine of our choosing, that means if you sign this form, you are agreeing to be detained,
Correct.
right? That your child will be detained because of a health risk or whatever, whatever.
Correct.
And I was like, wow. So she said, if you don't sign this agreement, I can no longer, the insurance will not insure me, which means you cannot be seen here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
And that's
wow.
them.
And there,
That is them insert. And people will say, "Oh, but it's different because, with infectious diseases, you can give it to somebody, right? But my womb, I can't give it to nobody." Well, untrue. If you have the baby and you don't have a dad there, now you got child support issues, and now you are giving it to somebody. If you decide not to have the baby, but you can't pay for the abortion, now you are giving the bill to somebody, right? So we live in a communal like for lack of a better word, a communal society. Like that's what society is. People give, take, agree to do things, right? So no matter what you do in this society, there is someone on the other side that is bearing the brunt of the decision that you made, regardless. And so in this case, you open the door for the government to insert itself in all kinds of things that just same thing with gay marriage. I'm like, why is
Don't
the
get married,
government
y'all. Don't get
why is
married,
the
y'all.
go- I'm like, why do you even need, first of all, why do you need the government to sanction a contract? It's one of two things. It's either a religious thing, which the government ain't supposed to be in, right? Not supposed to be in religion, so I don't shouldn't need no marriage license if I'm going to have a religious ceremony to bond myself to somebody else. Or it's a business contract where I say we're bringing our assets together and all this other stuff. Either way, still don't need the government till I show up in a court with said
But
agreement to say.
you don't need a government because this is two reasons why I know police used to say people got married. Number one, because of insurance, right? They wanted to be able to insure the
Hmm.
spouse, and
Yep.
then for legal purposes, and maybe that is I forgot what that's called. If somebody's dying, you need to be named next of kin to
Right.
power of attorney stuff.
Yeah. But again, that's still a legal contract.
So you can do all that without assuming the rights of marriage.
I can give I can name a person who's gonna have an advance directive over my life at any time, married or unmarried. What do you think single people do? You think everybody who's single just go in the hospital and die? I'm like, no, like their parents can make decisions if they decided that that's the case. A best friend, you can name a best friend and be like, this is my homegirl. I want her to make every decision if I'm like, right? It's a contract. So you either have a religious ceremony or you have a business contract, but either which way, the government shouldn't be in there, but we decided to let them in. And why did we decide to let them in? Because we wanted tax breaks and incentives. We wanted like all them crazy things that they should not be incentivized. Again, when you grow government, everybody loses. Period. Period. Everybody loses.
I think
And
that's historically, I'm gonna just speak for myself on this. I thought, or I think that historically, Black America has, and I think we might have talked about this before, clung to big government because of safety precautions
mhm,
with Jim Crow, right? We
yep.
needed the government to come in with national, what's it called, national troops,
Mhm, National
um,
Guard, yep.
National Guard to disrupt disrupt the isms that were going on for protection. Whether that gave them protection or not, or, I don't know. I think maybe that even goes back to the Civil War, where you had the government doing the stuff, even though the government was part of it, right? Sanctioned slavery in the first place. So,
That's correct.
um,
I was gonna say, let's back up to why we had it to begin with.
right, right, right. So I guess people are like, I think for a lot of us Black folks, this is what I can't understand. So I think I could say this. This is what I can't understand. Um, a big chunk of Black America is raised conservatively, right?
Hmm.
There's everything about our culture for a lot of us and our generation. They're very conservative, and we've used historically, we've been taught to vote a certain way, be a certain way. Um, that makes sense. So I do understand why people were swinging over to Trump because there's something right about the way that we were taught conservatively
Hmm.
about marriage, about submission, about gay, transgenderism,
Hmm.
about how we want to interact and move around in society, right?
Yep.
We don't want like what I hear is going on in California or has been going on in California. I personally, maybe it's because I'm a Texan, I don't agree with any of that. I don't want
Hmm.
my kids to learn about certain things. Like, I don't want their soft crime laws. Like, I don't want
Hmm.
any of that
Right.
for the way I'm raising my child. I want the rights to my body, though. I'll tell you that. I want that. Um, so I do understand how some people locked into, okay, abortion, right? Because theologically, that's what you were taught, right? I get that.
Mhm.
And then a lot of people felt, especially if you're in those states, that if you felt, if you, the curriculum was forced to include sexuality, TV. It is an offense to many belief systems, i.e., Disney, where everything is now gay or transgender based. Okay,
But here,
not everything, but a lot of things.
but here's the thing with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm, you know, Republican, conservative, libertarian, whatever you want, whatever box you feel like you want to put me in. Not Democrat though, but any other box pretty much. Uh, but here's the thing: change the station. You don't want to see it good? Don't watch it. Turn it, and then control your children so that they don't watch
Yeah,
it. Right? Like again, but the moment you start needing some big brother system to brood over you to tell you, no, no, you can't show that on TV because, right? Um, do believe that that power is not going to stop there. They're not just going to be like, oh, okay, we'll
that's the
take this
thing.
right, but you can have
Yeah,
all the other ones. That's fine. They don't stop. They don't stop. That's like the same thing with the amount of laws that are on the books. They just keep growing them. They
just
just
keep
like,
growing.
let's put some more on there. We not undoing nothing. We just gonna keep adding. So I mean,
I
I get the offense to people's sensitivities, and that's great. But I also am like, under no I mean, like, just think about what they did after 9/11. So some people got on planes with box cutters and ultimately killed a lot of people, both directly and then indirectly as a result of like people going, first responders going in and whatever. And as a result of that, you can't wear your shoes through the airport. I mean, unless you TSA pre-check or whatever, but basically you can't wear your shoes through the airport. I mean, this is literally what they did with the fear. Like you cannot, so in 50 years when you still can't wear and your great grandchildren say to you, hey, well, how come I can't? I still got, well, I gotta take my shoes off. I don't understand why I got to. And then you gotta explain to them that 52,000 years ago, somebody flew some planes into a building. And instead of taking sensible measures, they decided to tell you you can't wear your shoes to the airport and nobody that you know could come with you to the gate no more. You just let your children and everybody go unchecked at the gate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. And everybody just went along with it and was like, yeah, that sounds right. That sounds about right. Take my shoes off, of course, because that's going to definitely keep me safe.
Right.
So to me, it's amazing the things that they do with fear mongering and all of that. And in reality, if you just had, what's our favorite word on the show? Accountability. If you just took a little bit of accountability for your life and your decisions, and the same when people demonizing capitalism, stop buying the thing. If you stop buying the thing, it will cease to exist or it will change its model. Period.
Mm.
But we want a government to tell us things.
So this week, on that same note, this week I was paying attention to Lord Convenience, the God of
The
convenience,
God of convenience.
the God of comfort, because speaking of consuming, speaking of buying the thing, right? It's sort of, I don't know if you ever read that book, I Rigoberta Menchú. I don't know if you ever read that text. So what you need a fruit, this was in the 80s. Lord, I hope I remember this, but it was I don't know, it was Central America, um when they were forcing the natives onto the coffee plantations. Basically the same system is here, but they did it with coffee plantations, and it went a longer amount of time. And the system was, right, you block their native lands, you get them working for you, you have to take your kid with you because there's no child care. you're exhausted, you're tired, you begin to be depressed. Well, guess what they conveniently do? They put this great liquor market right there, right?
Mhm.
So then you start buying the liquor to cope with the oppression with the thing. Before you know it, you're in debt. Blah, blah, blah. A same model, different space.
Mhm.
So here we are, right? Here we are with most of us in a rat race, um, doing the convenient thing just to make it through, in this vicious cycle. The part that bothers me, I think the part that we agree on is you can't trade one master for the other,
That's correct.
right? The thing is still the thing. This thing is still accountability and responsibility, and you can't hire whatever God that you're
Correct.
hiring at the moment to solve your internal issues,
Yep.
right? And these are ultimately internal issues.
Correct.
And the issue that I'm really, well, that really makes me sad is those that voted this way are ignoring, right? They are ignoring the fact that, like in any abusive relationship, there are highs and lows. There are wonderful highs, which is how you
Mhm.
stay in it. There are wonderful highs. You're getting your way. You kind of turn a blind eye to the abuse that's going over here because it's
Mhm.
not happening to you directly, you think,
Of course.
right? Until you get slapped or whacked in the head, right? But then you got this wonderful high again. You're getting all your needs met until you're like a frog in that boiling water, right?
Mhm.
And it's too late for you. You don't even realize you cockeyed, disfigured, you know. You don't even see it happening, right? The way it
Yeah.
happened. So that's my issue with those who are on a high right now and they don't see it coming. You've just
Mhm.
traded for another master who
Just
is a
right
bit
for you.
more brutal
Mhm.
in the approach.
Yeah.
So
Because
in a way,
I don't know what they think will happen with, like, there's this whole thing about, you know, bringing jobs back to, like, manufacturing jobs back to America. And, so there's this notion of charging tariffs and production fees if you produce things outside of America and all that. But it's still got to come back to you. So if I like you're still going to pay the piper. It doesn't matter. Companies, I keep saying this, the whole point of a company is to not pay for nothing. My job as running a company is to divert all of my costs to the consumer of the product that I make. So everything from the lights that I need to run my factory to the people to the building to whatever, all taxes, all of that. That is wrapped up in the cost of the good that I have set the price for. So guess what? If now there's an extra $10 charge on something that ABC company now has to pay for each widget they make, ABC company is not paying the $10. The $10 is folded right on back into your price. So
so then the price just
you're
inflate
just gonna go
terrible.
up. And that's what I keep, like, even with the, people talk about inflation and all that, but you think about like minimum wage, and don't get me wrong, I definitely think people need a livable wage, and it's absolutely obscene what they think people can live on. That being said, that requires a heart change. Like, companies have to say, I'm okay with having less profit for my company, for my shareholders, because I'm going to pass that along to the people who work for me. But if you just mandate it and they're still trying to meet their quarter earnings that they've projected out there, they're still trying to meet their dividends that they want to pay out. They're still trying to meet all those numbers. They haven't adjusted none of those numbers. $15 an hour from $7 an hour. Guess who paying the extra 50% markup on people's salaries? It ain't the company. It's the price of
Mm,
bread that's going up because now I have to pay somebody $15 an hour and I used to pay them 7.
which
Milk
is
is
what
going
happened.
to go up. Your jeans are going to go up. The car you bought is going. Everybody's going up because as a business, I'm not absorbing that. I already told my shareholders what they're going to get in Q4. We promised them that. That's what they're going to get, and I'm going to make the consumer pay for it. So that to me is to your point, you can't serve two masters. And you pay now or pay later, but guaranteed you're gonna pay.
You don't pay. Is there a way for America to do because now you're spokesperson for the American government. Is there a way for America to do subsidies for people like they do farmers? Like, let's say, okay, I want to make $25 an hour. Like, let's say they have a basic, a universal income, right? The $75,000 a person. Is there a way for the American government, since they seem to be writing checks to everybody else, say, okay, we gonna COVID you a check, COVID you a check, get it? We gonna COVID you a check, and somehow they print money and subsidize it like they do.
I mean, yeah, but
It's not
again,
cost of
we
business.
they're cutting checks to everybody, but we paying for that. The government don't have no money. The government does not make a product except for human beings that exist as its citizens, right? It does not make any product. So it does not have money. The money that it is spending is your money. That's your tax. There is no new money. It don't matter whether they print it up. It don't matter none of that. It's still your money. They are going to collect it from you somehow. And it just so happens we like running a deficit here. So, we are okay with outrageous debt that we owe and all of that, but they're still collecting the money from you. They don't have no money. The government is your broke children with their handout, buying you a Mother's Day gift.
Five? That's a great.
That's what they. Hey, mommy, I want to buy you a Mother's Day gift. Can I get $5 to buy you a Mother's Day gift? That's your money buying yourself a Mother's Day gift. That's you right there buying yourself a Mother's Day gift.
Well, couldn't the American people divert that money and say, okay, now we want instead of you doing whatever, we want each of us to have this amount of money per year? Could
I
the
mean, you
Americans
could
just
you could be like, hey, stop sending the Ukraine money, stop sending, Africa money, stop sending Israel money, stop sending Mexico money, stop sending everybody money, and all of that money, all them trillions of dollars that you're sending over there, put that back into people's hands and, give them a fair wage from the government. But again, what the government giveth, it can taketh, and do believe it comes with rules and regulations.
yeah, don't I know it?
Right. So,
Don't I know it?
you go to the WIC office, they got rules for you to get that little SNAP card.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And you know what the price you pay? Freedom.
That's correct.
Freedom. Your
That's
freedom
correct.
is limited severely when you take any type of government benefits. But you know what, the welfare queens, I was like, you know what? I need to know what they know because somehow they making it, they were making it work.
Uh,
I don't know what tricks they
they
were
be out here
using.
selling their little cards for pennies on the dollar. That's what they be doing. They be like, so I got a $200 card. Who want to give me $100 for it?
They were so what if seriously, so what if the okay, so let me look on the bright side. Okay, I'm gonna create a bright side. One thing I do like about, at least in theory, I don't know how it works, but in theory, I know that Republicans, right, don't like the whole tax thing and the IRS,
Sure,
right?
Bob. They didn't had 9,000 years to get rid of that. I would have put on a Donald Trump hat if he told me he was getting rid of the IRS. I would have been like, MAGA, everybody, everywhere. These balloons would have been red. It would have been like, Make America Great banner over here. Let him be like he abolishing the IRS. What back? Your girl would have had all the hats on. Y'all could cancel me, roll me out to the curb, whatever you want to do. I don't care. Whatever. Um, yeah, the Republicans ain't doing nothing with the IRS. They are just fine. It is a hand in hand there.
And color me
Yeah,
MAGA, color me MAGA if he was
that's
gone.
correct. I would have painted myself orange. And that whole thing. I would have the whole thing. I ain't doing nothing. That's just all rhetoric and talk. Just like they claim they're a small government, they ain't small.
Wow. So they just okay.
Lies.
So what do you think they are going to enforce that's going to make their base happy? Because their bases believe in abolish Department of Education, abolish IRS, kill a couple people, maybe Pelosi. I don't know what promises he's made. I don't know. I can't remember them all. But
I think that um artificially or otherwise, you know, if the cost of consumer goods goes down, people will feel like something as great has happened. I also think a big chunk of the base that he has believes that illegal immigrants are sucking up resources to no end.
but wouldn't that make prices go up? Because I don't know none of them trying to be in the fields. I don't know not one of them.
I'm like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's gonna make so you people don't understand that those people who are who come back and forth and all of that, who don't have their papers quite right and all of that, a lot of those folks are in the fields picking your strawberries. So when the cost, you know how everybody was freaking out when avocados was going to talk about avocado toast and all that mess was going to be $22. So when your strawberries, your tomatoes, your avocados, your oranges, all of that, because you're not going out there.
No, 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 I'm not.
Uh, no, and nobody I
And
know
I'm
is
not
going out
growing
there.
my own.
I don't even go in my own. My husband has a garden, and I don't even go back there because I'd be like, you know what, you got bugs back there, and I don't really want just bring the fruit in, and I shall eat the fruit. But I'm not trying to go see the sausage making of the plants. I don't want to participate in that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and the unintended consequences. I don't think that they understand it the same way everybody out here hollering for, on the left, you got people hollering for a $15, $16 an hour minimum wage. I don't think you understand what the unintended consequences of that will be.
So what do you think? What do you think their role? What is their role then if they voted for these things? Because I've heard the talking points, and they sound great without
Well,
all the violence
ain't
and
that the
the
point of
crazy.
a talking point?
It's true.
I don't know nobody out there putting out bad talking points.
But without those promises that obviously he can't fulfill without hurting his base. But like you said, if you could throw a couple of magic tricks, like okay,
Correct.
I'll make your eggs go $1 again, $1 a carton,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Okay, and then you get that gas down. Those are two things
I
that they
give you a
always
little
talk about.
tax refund check. Everybody like a refund, which is insane to me. I'm like, you do realize they've been holding your money for eons, earning interest on that, and they give you back the money that you overpaid. That's what that is. Okay.
So with those three things, people usually the mass majority are easily.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be fine.
Oh,
They're gonna think it's great. Now look, don't get me wrong. There were some tangible things that um Trump did in his first presidency that I think warrant a congratulations. We
okay,
we we weren't at war. There was not a single war that we was engaged in while he was president. We didn't start nothing, won't be nothing. Okay? Okay.
okay.
There's a lot to be said for that because everybody else, the moment they step foot into that office, they ready to fight somebody. And I'm like, ain't you supposed to be celebrating? Take a minute to celebrate. Well, start fights and stuff.
They find it,
They
but
bombing
didn't he go
people.
on the Muslims with the Muslim ban? Wasn't that kind of like a little teeny preview of or something?
I don't think that's not. We didn't have no wars. There were no wars. Half wars or declared wars, because we also do the thing where we don't really declare war. We just go bomb some stuff and call it a day. Yeah. Um. Yeah. There
Okay,
was
no.
there was nothing underneath him. He had peaceful waters for whatever you want to call it. You can talk about the funds that he set aside for HBCUs. And people don't often like to talk about that, but them little black presidents was all up in his office cheesing for a check. I tell you, they was like, so, so I mean, my view on presidents and leaders in general is that a broke clock is right twice a day.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, so we'll see what he do. I
We'll
mean,
we'll see. You're right. We'll
hey,
we'll see. In essence, he is one thing, right? He is one thing. And then there is the culture of it and the emboldened. And what I do
that's a different
remember,
story. Now that's a different story. I'm gonna say this
okay,
much. What they not doing is taking away nobody guns. I'm telling everybody, go, you better go get your arsenal together. Get your arsenal together. Oh yeah, all of it. Get together. Because you can catch these hands. That's what you can do. These hands in this heat. Okay. So don't come around here with no tomfooleriness. Um, because we don't play at this house. Okay. We are good to go, and you will meet your maker and match and maker all in the same day. Okay.
oh my good.
I keep
Okay,
my
okay,
little,
okay.
I keep my, when I go to the gun range, I keep my targets. I hang them up in the house because I'm like, if somebody break in, they're gonna see this target and have second thoughts. Notice where the bullets are at. There are no holes on the white pieces of the round. These are headshots and neck shots. So you can get what you get if you want to. Okay, okay.
Well, shout out to Tactical Carl. A couple years ago, I took his tactical course.
Self-defense. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Good
he is
for
a
you.
HPD officer, and you can get detailed courses. He can teach you how to roll and hide and
That's
punch.
you got to learn how to dive over furniture and shoot and all that. You got to all the things. Yeah.
And I forgot. And then Sensei, oh my gosh, she's gonna kill me. But yes, both of them were running these tactical courses. So yes, so it's out there, and I think it's needed no matter what, and
Yeah.
maybe needed now more than ever.
You should always be able
Um,
to protect yourself.
and I think maybe this is the lesson. This is the lesson. Big groups of us, right, have always had to be prepared.
That is
Um,
correct. We gonna
natives,
survive.
right, right. We've always had to be prepared. We've always that's been our history. Um, and those who are caught off guard, who are in denial, right? They'll have their consequences too. But at the end of the day, this has been the reality of America, whether they've experienced it, agreed to it or not.
Right.
Um, so I'm not sure how different this will be. I mean, well, let me do like this. It's gonna be different.
It's gonna be different.
It's gonna be different.
Different.
It's gonna be obvious and blatant. I just didn't realize how again how short people's memories are because in 26, I mean he was president before.
Mhm.
Um,
But what do people, my question is this, what do people really remember about any presidency?
they remember the power, they remember the things that affect them personally.
That's correct.
Yeah,
That's correct. They
they
remember
remember
the
the
things that
things.
affect them personally. And most of that stuff, most of the stuff is coming from your own state and local government.
That's okay. That is true. Now, the issue with Texas is Texas seems to be aligned in some of these. The
We are
alliances seem
aligned.
to be pretty
We are
clear.
aligned.
So, but then again, Texas is about the money. This is one thing that I do want to say. Um, a shift that I felt. And before this election, I usually keep these things to myself, but the election has shown me something very clear about what I sense and what I feel in energy. And right before this election, I felt that there was this humongous shift. I don't know if it was coming from people and people's fear, but it
Mhm.
felt like this huge shift. And when I checked in, what I heard was reckoning that there is, which I'm not saying is new. I think people are becoming more aware of it, but
Mhm.
there is a huge shift in a reckoning. A reckoning. People are going to have to be very aware and experience a reckoning um, like they haven't experienced in a long time. I don't think any of this is new.
Right.
Um, And by reckoning, I mean America may not be here, but the world's gonna be
The world will
right.
be the planet, the whole planet. I know they talking about save the planet, but it's gonna be fine. You the only one that needs saving. The planet is gonna manage its own life. Okay, it can do its own work.
Right,
And
right.
it's gonna do it through whatever climate it needs to do it. Cold, hot, warm, mildly cold, whatever. It's gonna handle its business. And it will take everybody out. Let's be clear. Before you take it out, it will take you out.
It
Okay.
will take
Ask
you
the
out.
dinosaurs. And they didn't even do nothing. They was chilling, minding their business. And all of a sudden they not here no more.
I
So,
do know that there's going to be a reckoning. I do know that people are going to have to come to terms with themselves because I keep thinking of Rwanda.
mm.
And I keep thinking, now this is according to the documentaries and look the movie, but I do
Yeah.
remember hearing just saying, I'm just saying, we take the information we can get. I just remember hearing this woman say that before everything started between neighbors, is it was the radios, it was the media that was
Hmm.
inciting who against, is inciting to make people think, oh, this is your enemy is coming for you.
Hmm.
And that incited itself so much that a fringe and then a majority took action.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think, and I think this is repeated in several different platforms. I don't think there's going to be any outside force. I think it's going to be us imploding from the inside.
Oh, of course. That's how every great country has ever come to ruin. It was rarely ever from an attack from the outside. It was usually themselves internally, just combusting.
People are going to just start believing as they are, and it just get more intense. So practically speaking, I'm like, know your neighbor, know the policies that affect you. And even today, as I was at work, I was like, I don't think I want to be here for the apocalypse. I need to make some changes real quick. Right? Like, this is not where I want to be when it goes down. This is not
That's
where I
what
want to be.
yeah, no. First of all, I've already had a conversation with the Lord and I've already said, hey, look, sky your girl up. Beat me up, Sky.
I forgot. You the one who needs that t-shirt Enoch out. Like you trying to Enoch out. Like no.
Correct. I'm not supposed to be here running through no forest with two bags on. I'm not that girl. I'm not that girl. Now, look, if you want to come to my house and catch this heat, great. I can handle you at my house. What I'm not about to do is be running through no woods, running the streets, ducking, and looking like I'm in a Will Smith movie. I'm not doing all that. We're not doing that. I'm not doing
No, I'm not. And I never understood why you couldn't get older people to run or escape. Like, no.
that.
Look, we
No.
just gonna have to
Then
catch
people
it
gonna
here.
sit on their porch.
Yeah. Like
Mhm.
I'm tired. My knees is gimpy. My hip is shifty. I need to take my blood pressure medicine. I'm not running nowhere. I'm not. I look. I'm gluten free.
I'm gluten free.
I
Oh
need my
my God.
alkaline water. Mm-mm. I can only digest fish's protein. Like, mm-mm. I don't want to. I
You're
don't
gonna
want.
be in the woods counting blades of grass. I mean, I think this blade will work.
Not like I'm okay. Maybe I want to get my kids somewhere safe, but I know that I live forever. So catch you
Yeah.
next time. Catch me outside. Like
Wow.
I'm good. I'm out. Like it's done. Right? That's contract. All right.
Right. First of all, if it is, I'm gonna be like, when I get there, you already know I'm gonna be like, look, what you're not doing is sending me back nowhere. Okay. I'm retired.
That was
Where's the
horrible.
retirement
That was
line?
awful.
I am 5,000 years old and it is time for me to go sit down. Okay. That's what our conversation is gonna be.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be a surprise if, because right, a lot of people are already there, and young people volunteering every day. So wouldn't
Right.
that be a trip if people were like, "Yeah, I'm good, I'm out." What if people would just start mass exiting?
Now, I don't think it should be at your like I just wanna I just want to be clear, okay? I don't think you should do anything to expedite your timeline. You should not. I don't think you should do that. All I'm saying is that if the Lord asked, so back in the day, old people used to be like, I'm gonna be a soldier for the Lord, and he not gonna ask me to be a soldier, right? The only thing we're gonna have a conversation about is beaming me up. Okay, that's all we're doing. So I'm not volunteering for soldierhood, none of that. So I'm not suggesting that anybody expedite their ticket out. Definitely not saying that.
But this is my issue. I'm saying that we have, and this is data, unfortunately, right? We are not the Civil War generation in body and mind, right? We are not physically fit. I would say most of us, a big chunk of us are on mental health issue.
You take
It
it
is,
all out. You take all that out on people in the Civil War. You think the
but
people in the Civil War didn't have mental issues?
no, no, no. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. I mean that majority of Americans are
Oh, yeah.
medicated just to stay sane. Okay.
A lot of them are, yeah.
And if you're not medicated mental health wise, you're medicated with your body somehow to function properly. So I say that because that in generation and testosterone levels at an all-time low. So I think the norm is supposed to be something like 2000, but now most men are at 200.
Don't tell that to all the men who voted for Trump.
It's probably especially, but I just people are with that get up and fight.
Well,
I
first
think
of
most
all, let's be clear. We've been lulled into a sense of
Netflix, Hulu, we've been low. We have we have couch potato bodies. You remember they used to threaten you and say you're gonna be a couch potato? No, we are a couch
that is
potato.
correct. That is
That's
correct.
what we
Because
are.
I can tell you this much, when I was a kid and you go to your family's house and all the cousins and stuff running it out, and they be like, y'all stay outside. Don't be running in with the whatever. I was like, what I'm not doing is going outside. So I'm gonna sit right here on this couch. And then, my aunts would be like, you need to be outside with the kids. I'd be like, you need to be outside with the kids. It's hot. I'm gonna be right here in this air condition. That's where I'm gonna be. I'm minding my business, watching the stories y'all got playing. Leave me be. Okay.
Well, now I'm saying that is majority of the
Yes.
kids. That's majority of them. So back in the day, you had infantry. I get it that some people have enlisted. That's not majority
Oh, yeah,
of
no.
17
That's correct.
and 21.
That's
Okay.
correct.
They look, you see this face? They
Mm-hmm.
look at all, they have my body. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll get y'all. They have my body and my face at 25. I don't understand. I've had three kids. I've
Mm-hmm.
had a whole divorce and a lover. Why you got all of this at 21? Why am I looking younger than you?
Right.
In body and face. So I say that because they done been through already.
They done been through
Their
it.
body is as strong as mine, and that's a problem.
That is correct.
That's a problem. So what I'm saying is, unfortunately, with everyday stress, every day I got to get up to go to work stress. We have not added wartime.
That's correct.
We haven't added you actually have nothing to eat today. Okay,
Correct.
that might have been my childhood, but we haven't added
Yeah.
wartime stress where you actually have to be told what to do and when to do it.
That is correct.
Right?
That
You
is
eat when
correct.
somebody tells you eat. So I'm saying most, I won't say most, a large bit of our population cannot handle stress, don't have the capacity to do stress and hard things. So if you add an actual war where you have to run, first of
Okay,
all,
wait a minute
let's
though,
stop
but
and
who is
run.
in the war? Like, are we just saying that we're casualties of the war because
No,
we were sitting in our
I'm
house and
talking
bombs are
about,
getting dropped? Or what are we talking
yes,
about exactly?
yes, I'm talking about two things.
Okay,
I'm talking since we in Texas, right?
that's true.
Because they said, I don't know if this is true, they said that Trump the Supreme Court has immunized himself and he has the power to deputize whoever to get
Yes.
whatever done.
That he's
Okay.
pretty much immune from prosecution for the most part based on the Supreme Court ruling. That's correct. But
Okay.
all
So
but they act like this is new. All presidents, there that is what diplomatic immunity is all about. Like so that's why I didn't understand what the like, and I'm sure there's some legal nuance, whatever, because there's always legal nuance, but ultimately
mhm.
every president. That's why you cannot sue the president of the United States of America. You can't sue the government. You can't it's like they pretty much move with impunity.
Okay.
So
And these could be rumors, but right now they're facts for me. So if Jeb Nim, if David Duke Nim, okay, get hype and they like, we gonna reconcile, we gonna do what we do, right? We get to slave coding, right, and deputizing, and let's go get them.
mhm,
Probably the illegals first, as you said, okay.
yes, yeah.
But if they going down Aldine Mail route
Yep.
and they start rounding up and shooting up and have all this power, right, and making up rules as they go along, that in essence is a war. It might be block by block,
But
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 that
are
in
we?
essence,
But we're already there. That's the part I don't seem to understand. The police have weaponized themselves against the citizens. I mean, like you literally have people getting gunned down in streets by police when they are running away.
yes, but this is what I'm saying. Yes, but that affects only a certain group of people.
But they also have interrupted protests with militarized vehicles, militarized equipment. Like I'm like, they have turned the regular police force into a military
But
who
that has only affected a certain group of people.
I don't know, tell that to Kent State students.
Well, memory, that's how many years ago?
Yeah, but in I wasn't born, but I was close to being born. But my mother was here on the planet and grown and whatever. Like I'm like, so that I mean, and that's what you know, that's what we kind of know to be. I mean, like, it's a slow escalation, right? To your point about the frogs in the water, the boil is it just feels warm and cozy. Oh, that's not us. Oh, that's not whatever, right? Um, but we are already on that path.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree because technically, right, you can say, especially the past 100 years, right, we have been on that. Okay, so let me pivot a little bit. So, and this is gonna seem extreme, but that postcard where you had the black man hanging, and then you had a
Mm-hmm.
slew of white people
White
around
people
with
just
their kids,
looking, people with cameras, eating ice cream. Yeah, all of that. Uh-huh. Yep.
with their kids, like,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
this is great, right?
Yep.
So even though to me that was a pretty healthy baseline, right? Like to me, after slavery, that all of this is possible, and it just keeps coming around in weird
Mm-hmm.
circles. For some reason, epigenetically, I know we'll be fine because we have certain fears that have kept us safe and in our place.
Mm-hmm.
But that big group of white women that keep voting and helping this happen,
Mm-hmm.
and the white, this is where I'm really gonna get in trouble. And the white liberal women who somehow can get lulled and deny, and these are their mothers,
Mm-hmm.
daddy,
Oh yeah.
grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
like they have not, they have not been there.
Oh yeah, no,
They
they
have
ain't
not,
been there. No, they have not been there.
and I'm
They
saying
ain't
they
been there.
there now, and they don't know they there. They
I
there.
think, yeah, because they're in denial. They don't think, but that's what happens when you have a sense of entitlement. You think that that's not ever going to happen to you.
Mm.
Right. Again, you talking about people who beat somebody, rape somebody, and then turn around and ask them for lemonade. Like, I'm not gonna put rat poison in your lemonade. And we often didn't put the rat poison in their lemonade. We just brought them some lemonade. So, like, why would I think that anything is gonna happen to me? I can do all this crazy mayhem and nothing happens.
Well, I'm gonna sit back and pop my popcorn because um and I'm saying this in all deliberate speed. I'm saying this in all epigenetically. And I'm saying that because there is a big sense of me for my mom, the stories she told her mom. You know, like we have these
Hmm.
stories that haven't been that aren't mainstream in our
Right.
ears, right? Of all these horror stories of what
Yeah.
this looks like. And as Bill Burr does this in a fantastic, funny way, but it's serious. So perhaps the reckoning that is happening is them reconciling themselves. Like they have to face their demons and these shadows. And it's in their face and they can't deny it. So maybe they really coming for you, first for them, but then for you. We again have been here. There's of course going to be collateral damage within our community as they jockey for positions and all this stupid stuff,
Mhm.
right? Um, but for the most part, I guess the biggest weeping and gnashing of the teeth is going to be with those who really feel like that they were safe and have no current memory of having to face these crimes against humanity. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah.
And for those in the new age community, coming for y'all next. For those in the new age community who I continue to hear say, um, well, the pathway, right? This is the pathway. This is the pathway that you chose. I think both things can be true. Number one, you still have consequences to your choices,
That's correct.
right? There is still evil in the world.
That is correct.
So I don't want people to suffer because I feel like even now you have the ability to reconcile, you have the ability to make right, you have the ability to work things out. Um, but it's that denial that is so deep that's just going to cause a lot of pain and suffering. And Black America is going to have to choose how we want to suffer because we've been programmed to save everybody.
Mhm.
And maybe this time we decided not to.
I don't think so.
What do you mean?
I think it's a piece of our DNA for the most of us. Let me say most of us. I'm not saying all of us, but most of us. Um, that we are trained to save everybody to a fault, including ourselves. Like we will injure ourselves in an attempt to save anybody and everybody else.
Did you see that thing? Because we never talked about it. Did you see that thing that's going around the internet about if you're lost or whatever in the world, find a Black woman?
Yeah,
So
correct.
did you see that?
Hmm. I'm gonna tell you right now, don't find me because I'm on my business. This black woman is not talking to you. She is not helping. She is not because I don't know what you about, what you doing. So no, but that is correct. That is the motto. Find one of us and we will help you.
Wow, I saw that and I felt some kind of way because I know that's not reciprocated.
Oh no, it's not reciprocated. And trust that if something goes sideways, let some little kid be lost in the store and you help them, and then that little kid's story happens to be that you touched them, you did something. Guess who's going to jail today? It's not the little kid. I'm just saying, it's not the little kid. It's not the little kid.
Oh wow. I tell you, it's a fine line between me creating the reality and staying on my passion in my journey and respecting that other people have choices and also have their realities that bump into
That's
mine.
correct.
Um, it is a fine line between white privilege sometimes where I know I've heard they have had the ability to not think about it,
Hmm.
not think about it.
Yeah,
Like
no.
it doesn't affect them. I'm gonna just think positive,
Right.
um, and not have to be surrounded by people, policies, and their bad choices, and how it affects our lives, especially Black women, how it affects our lives personally.
Right.
Because usually these policies, somehow, some way, we feel them first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you can say that with the women's rights movement and all of that stuff. I mean, like you've aligned yourselves with your white counterpart, and first of all, yeah, they talking about equal pay day, but they equal pay is still 78 cents to the dollar, and you still down there barely trying to make 50 cents.
Yeah.
So you just gonna make them whole at 100 and you still at 50 cent? Like that's what the goal is? We just gonna keep pushing them uphill?
Wow. So how could this look different? What does this look like for even as everybody else goes through, right? What does this look like for the spiritual community, not the religious community, but for those of us who know better, and our personal Black American community? Like, I wonder, like, we have the potential to be the safe spaces. We have the potential to be the safe spaces. We have the potential to be the mentors in the the guidance through a time like this. If we position ourselves correctly, even just individually, as people freak out, because we're like, yeah, we know how this goes. Um, I often wonder what pitfalls can we avoid now.
Mm, child. It's a very loaded question.
I know, and I think the one thing that comes on the top of my head is to not other, meaning I see a lot of Black, and I know Black church. I see a lot of it's so tempting to be like, well, the devil's busy. I see a lot of othering, and I see a lot of taking sides, I guess what I'm saying. Taking sides and aligning ourselves with who we think the winner is,
Mm-hmm.
uh, or demonizing the other sides. For once, I want us to, like you said, mind our own business,
Good luck.
mind our own business and build.
Oh, good luck.
Man, man, mind our own business and build
No,
and build and be the beacons.
no, no.
Okay, why you say no?
It's not happening. It's not happening. We are
Not even, go ahead.
not even what? Say what you about to say.
I was like, not. I was thinking about the talented 10. Not even 10% of us.
The vast majority of us are still looking very much for a savior.
Oh, well, there you go. well, there you okay. Well, there you go. Okay, so okay. Is there a Black enlightened community? Because you asked last time about where are the prosperous Black communities. Is there a Black enlightened community
Well,
in
first
which
you
they're
got to
not?
define what enlightened is.
Okay, you're right. That's loaded. Is there a self-actualized community, non-cultish, um, that is not looking for a savior, that lives out practical solutions for healthy living and business? Didn't that look on your face,
I
Cicelo?
mean, people would have said that like Dr. Sabi was one of those people who kind of, had healthy solutions, all that stuff. I mean, like, I think there are like, I'm sure there are pockets somewhere, and they probably, if there are, they minding their business. Minding their business. Um, I mean, I'm sure there are pockets, but the vast majority of us,
I'm looking for a savior.
yeah,
Hence the need to depend on the government.
yep, precisely,
Okay.
precisely.
Poor or rich, depending on the.
Yeah, poor or rich, doesn't matter. I mean, right, like you think about it, and I've said this from even when I was younger, and I just really despised it. I'm like, okay, look, I appreciate Malcolm X and Stokely's and everybody, all the people, Martins, all of them. But I don't understand why they got to be why are they my leader? Like I
What
don't.
do you mean? Flesh that out. What do you mean?
I mean,
Before
like
you fit
why
all
do
black
Black
America.
people need a leader? Why do we need a leader? I'm like, what? No one talks about white leaders. No one's like, and the white leader
They
today
got the whole
spoke.
structure.
They got who?
They have the whole structure. They have the
No, no, but I'm saying, what I'm saying is that no one is saying, because white people are not a monolith either, right? So let's be clear, white people are not a monolith. And just like there's infighting right now, right? You got the white male patriarchy that feel like they've been ignored and whatever. So they went over here with Trump, and then you got the other white, whatever that went over, right? So they're not a monolith either, but no one is propping up people in their community as their leader.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. That's
Right? Like
true.
they don't need a leader to move their agenda forward. No one is like, whoever. I don't even know who the person is, but whomever. Tucker Carlson, leader of the white men. Like no
Oh,
one is saying that.
that's funny. That's funny. Well,
And
I don't know. Well, Trump right now is a leader of
I mean, he's the
whatever.
leader of his party, and that is exactly what he is. And now he's a leader of the United States of America because that's what the Electoral College decided. So, I mean, like, yes, that title is, but he's not an appointed. No one references him as they reference Martin Luther King to the Black community, or Malcolm X to the Black community, or Stokely Carmichael, or Marcus Garvey, or any of those people. No one references those people. Bill Clinton was not the leader of white mankind.
That's true. But I think that's indicative of most oppressed people, like whether it's
And maybe that's why we oppressed.
Cesar Chavez or whether it is, I'm thinking of all the, leaders at their time during the civil
But
rights.
were
It's
they a leader of a movement or of a people?
a movement.
That's correct.
A movement. But so is Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. They're
No,
leader.
they were black leaders. They were black leaders who happened to have a movement.
Really? I
Oh
didn't see
yeah.
it like that.
They were leaders of black people. They were the black leadership, and they happened to have a movement.
Now, where I can agree is in the black church, in the traditional black church, and a lot of them at least that I experienced, that pastors were used as like a demigod status to
Hmm.
corral the people. So, which comes from slavery tradition, right? So
Hmm.
you have the pastor to communicate with him what the policies and needs are. You communicate with your people, and then your people follow the pastor in the community. Because
Right.
yeah, I think that's kind of a jacked up thing that
Well, yes, that is definitely a jacked up thing.
I have all because maybe I wasn't raised in the black church. I think intentionally by my mom because she did not like that cattle call um
Hmm.
Borg think. I don't know what to call it. Like it's like the
Right.
Borg, we.
Right.
She wanted more individualism and um so I get that part is weird. So I wasn't aware, but that makes sense because Martin
Yeah,
Luther
like
King
Jesse
was from the
Jackson is a
black
black
church
leader.
and he's
Jesse
from the
Jackson, Al Sharpton, black leaders, which by the way, I'm not claiming either one of them, but okay.
I don't think it's claiming. Well, I don't think the people claim
I mean,
it.
now
Is
they don't claim them, but back in the day, they claimed them.
yeah, they did. Yeah, I think that was definitely the structure of the times. You did is pass the said, right? I used to hear it all the time. Pass the said, pass the said, pass the said. Yeah, I think that was very much
But
our culture.
but fundamentally, that to me is the problem because that's why they can kill your black leader, and then now y'all all scrambling trying to figure out what to do with your life.
Did you ever see the spook who sat at the door?
Mm-mm.
Ooh, okay. When you can, because I think it was actually banned in the 70s, but the spook who sat at the door, I can't remember who directed it, but it was the most revolutionary thing I saw at the time and reminded me of 9/11 because there was no, the point of it is there was no leader. It was a
Correct.
bunch of people that kept popping up when they killed the one person. So they
Right.
couldn't figure out who was leading who, which was the structure of, they said, for what was the group? The fact that I can't remember, girl. Osama bin Laden, what did they call themselves?
I don't know. They kind of just became they were just everybody was talking about bin Laden, so nobody really knows what whatever. But they got Hamas and Hezbollah and whoever the new people are at any given time. So
And I think that's the thing. I don't think they have leaders anymore. I think they classed onto the fact that it's a movement, and so you just have a bunch of people,
right.
and they're just going to carry on. And I think that is, I don't know. I think as Black Americans, we're so different. I think, like you said before, because we came over here from God knows, a lot of us, God knows where in the world, and we have the same shade, but completely different cultures,
Hmm.
um, completely different languages.
Right.
So I don't think, if trauma is your bond, I don't think you're ever going to get everybody on the same page like
That is
that.
correct. That is
A lot
correct.
of people aren't related. Now, however, half of us are related to our slave masters. I think that's probably the most confusing, jacked up part, is
That,
that we're related and can't seem to get ourselves together.
that is.
Um, but long story short, but I don't know.
I
It's a
just,
mess.
I mean, I think as long as we gotta have somebody, it's really the perversion of the children of Israel, basically. As long as you need a king, God bless you.
Mm, as long as you need a king. Well, yeah, because if you have a king, then you're not really responsible or accountable. It pains a man to think. You're right. It pains. It pains a man to think for me to show up and really cooperate with others and not look for a leader, because people are trained to have leaders and will freak out if you ask them to make a decision by themselves a lot of the times.
That's highly
So,
unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Because I can tell you, even in my professional life, when I've gone in-house, um, meaning stepped outside of consulting and gone inside of an employer and become a employee of something, um, I can tell you, I always have the conversation with whoever the person is in this organizational hierarchy, um, that I don't need a leader. I don't need a leader. I need maybe a partner, right, for some
right.
thought partnership. But definitely, I don't need a leader. I'm fully fine. I don't even understand what you're doing. Like, I don't know what you think you're leading. You might organize some work or something like, whatever, but I'm not sure what you think you're leading exactly.
Wow. So wait. So let me. Okay. So to parallel that with, because there's a part of America, right, who are fundamentalists in their beliefs. They might not think so. I remember growing up hearing Joyce Myers, and one thing that she would talk about, I used to watch her all the time, was how her husband had the final say, right? And I've, in an autonomous, mature relationship, I
Mm-hmm.
can understand the mutual
Yes.
benefit of this
Yep.
with
I
trust
agree.
and love.
I
Okay.
agree.
But since we're talking about accountability and responsibility, and that most individuals struggle with that, which means most relationships struggle with that,
Mm-hmm.
um, there is a big group of women who may be wise in theory, right? Who are going to allow their spouses to figure it out at the demise of everybody around them. So, because that's the design, hence not wanting a woman to be president, because we don't believe that that is biblically sound. We don't believe God
Well,
ordained
right.
this.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, with these belief systems, and I'm forgetting what my point, you said you don't need a leader, right? But you have people in structures in their personal life who are not going to lead, even if they hear from God
That is
themselves.
true.
They are not going to do it because they don't believe that that is the way that the world is structured.
That's true.
They are going to submit because in their mind,
That's true.
they're not going to submit to God. They're going to submit to whoever that leader is
Yeah, that's true. I don't
and
disagree
be
with that.
blessed.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Okay. And I think that is the major fundamental issue with maybe the world, but definitely what America is going through because for eons we have patriarchy that leads us down a path of stupidity.
That is correct.
Not to say that women can't be stupid. And because we have been murdered in droves, whatever in droves, right? You choose life or somewhat of one and let him figure it out because you're not saying nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Or you just become passive aggressive along the way or,
Yes,
whatever. You become a Karen along the way. So that's my issue is that maybe that goes back to your point. There's a big chunk of us who don't believe it is God's plan for women to be accountable and responsible for themselves and for the God they serve because they don't believe God's talking to them.
that's correct. I don't disagree with that at all. There's a large swath of people who believe that. I mean, you have a whole you had a whole number one religion for a very long time that told you you could not go directly to God.
Yes.
That you needed
Yes.
to go through a man in a booth or at the podium or whatever. I mean, like there's a lot of like, and I'm like, they don't even remotely settle right. Like,
Yes. Like a whole
mhm,
bunch,
a whole
millions,
bunch,
maybe billions.
billions of people, correct? Yes.
And so if God is coming as a woman, guess what? We ain't
You
gonna meet him.
know,
We ain't gonna make her.
it's
Whatever.
not gonna, yeah, it's not
You'll
gonna work for a
crucify
lot of
me.
people. It's not gonna work for a lot of people. Not. It's gonna be a lot of people
Crucifixion
who
number
miss it.
two.
That's
Right.
correct. That's correct. It's gonna be a lot of people who miss the train. Yeah, because I mean, it's true. And look, and I'm not saying that like you can definitely have, so there's a difference between needing a leader and having decision makers, right? Like decision making is something that we all have to do, and you can certainly carve up the roles and responsibilities so that certain people make certain decisions. You say, okay, you have this skill set, so these, seems like this would be up your alleyway, right? It's just like going to my finance people. I go to them because they experts. So I expect to seek counsel from them. If I could let them make decisions, I would let them make decisions. But if they make a bad decision, I'm gonna be the one in jail. So I should probably be the one making the decision, the final decision. But like, you have there are definitely there's definitely a balance between needing to be led and allowing someone to make decisions because they have the expertise in the area to make the decision, or at least to have a more weighted opinion on the direction in which the thing should go. So I'm not saying throw the baby out with the bathwater. Um, and I'm also not saying that you cannot share in someone's vision and partner with that person to execute that vision, but it should be a shared vision. Thus, I don't need leadership for a shared vision. We both working towards the same thing. We both want the same outcomes, or both on the same path. There might be things you should make decisions about and things that I should make decisions about, but we're both on the same path with the same desired outcome that we're all working towards, right? Um, So I don't want anybody to get that to get that twisted. But to be led, yeah, I don't need to be led nowhere. Unless the Lord is coming to beam me up. Okay.
to be led. Yes, folks want to be
Folks want to be led. Folks
led.
want
They
to be
don't
led.
want responsibility. They don't want to be caught holding the bag, right?
Yep.
If
And
yeah.
I don't think that they understand that the bigger, it seems counterintuitive, but the more government that you have, this is why people are tired. People think it's because they need more oversight, like they need more, give more responsibility to government so that I don't have to do it, give them more, and that will make my life easier. But that's not really how it works. It's actually, it sounds counterintuitive, but the more you give them, and that's in any relationship, you still have to keep an eye on what they're doing. It doesn't abdicate you from the role of requiring oversight, right? Whereas the less, so it's almost like being single versus being married, right? There's pros and cons to it both, right? I'm married, obviously, but I used to be single. So when you're single, life. You don't have any, there's no one else putting any kind of boundaries or any kind of anything. You don't have to talk. If you want to get up, grab your purse, walk out the house, you get up, grab your purse, walk out the house. You ain't got to shout out to nobody. Hey, babe, I'll be back. Running where you don't do none of that. You just go.
Right.
That's what
Right.
it's like with limited government. You just go. You just go. But there's a weight that comes with, and I'm not saying the weight is bad for a marriage, so please don't take that away from me. But there is an added layer of
Checkpoint.
complexity, yeah, of complexity that exists when there are other people involved with decision making, when there are other people involved with knowing your whereabouts, when there's a whole added layer of complexity that you didn't have before. That is big government. And people think it's going to be easier because but it's not. It's really much more easier. It's very easy if it's just you, and all you have to do is figure out what you are going to do today. What am I going to eat today? What am I going to drive today? What am I like? Very easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
It's
That's
free.
interesting. That's a whole different dynamic of that's a whole different societal cultural dynamic. It's the difference between, I'll just use women as an example, of a woman who leaves her house with her parents to get married, right? So she
Mhm.
never knows autonomy like that. You
Right.
just live with mom and dad, now you're married, you live with somebody else,
Correct.
versus someone who was single
Yep.
for a little bit and got married.
Correct.
Those are two completely different brain sets and
Oh,
mindsets.
definitely.
And I remember when I was divorced, that 5 years of being single were scary for me.
Mm.
Scary not having the other check and balance, and because somehow I didn't execute certain decision making right.
Right.
So I can understand, I guess, with that example, how clearly it must be tough for people to, if they haven't used those legs before,
Right.
right? If they haven't exercised autonomy, accountability, and responsibility outside of like oversight,
Yep.
it can be jarring, which we say the stench of freedom, right? It can
Yep.
be jarring.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's where we are currently. That's where we are.
That's where we are. It's like any government, but just give me government.
Correct. Give me a head of household, give me a government, give me a boss, give me anything, just anything so that somebody can direct what I am doing.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
But
Yes.
there are expectations that come with that, right? There's
Yes.
the government has expectations, your boss got expectations, your spouse got expectations. And so while you may have traded the task list and now you know exactly what you need to do, and it's been predetermined for you, you now have the burden of somebody's expectations on you for doing those things.
That is so that is so true. Hence the rebellion of what you said you really wanted. So, oh, oh, oh. So now we got Big Daddy and all.
That's correct. That is correct. That is correct.
Big orange, and a bunch of us gonna act like rebellious teenagers, but that's what you wanted.
That's,
That's what you wanted.
that's
That's gonna be
good.
interesting.
It
You're
will,
right. I want oversight.
it
Oh,
will be.
that's interesting. So,
All right.
well, it's day one.
It's day one. Day one to the road to power transition.
Day one. So when is it officially? Do you know when he takes office?
January something.
Okay.
I want to say January 6th, but don't hold me to that. It could be something else. January 6th could be just seared in my head because of what happened the last time.
And I'm gonna be highly entertained if I see Democrats up there. If I see the rainbows trying to get into the
Oh my God. Oh my
doing
God.
them voguing on the steps of the White House January 6th.
Right? Oh my God. That's hilarious. Let me see. When does POTUS get sworn in? So, inauguration day 2025 is according to USA.gov, inauguration day occurs every 4 years on January 20th or January 21st if January 20th falls on a Sunday.
Ah, ain't that like Martin Luther King Day? Close to that?
It might be.
I didn't know January 19th or something. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, okay,
Right.
well, day one, we'll do our days into that hit and see what comes up.
Gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot to talk about. It's gonna be lots of things happening. That's what everybody need to go do. Y'all playing. Y'all playing. I'm for real. Y'all playing. You better run out there and get your little stuff together.
Well, next episode, you got to tell us the best places that you can get some sidearm with. Okay, you're gonna do a class. You're gonna do a class and let us know. You're gonna bring out your big johns, your big guns, and tell us what.
Mm-mm. Nope. People who be running around here talking about what all they got and what they holding and all that. No, you find out what I'm holding if you roll through here the wrong way. That's when you find out what I got. Just know that I have, and I have a lot, and any one of them can perform the job that I need them to perform.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! This is already so wild. These are conversations we
Just
so.
saying. I mean, yeah. I mean, I can tell you, I've been in. It's crazy. There's crazy. I've been in at least a singular situation in recent years where, yeah, I mean, I thought that I was gonna have to take somebody's life on the streets of Houston, albeit that.
Okay, at Tactical Carl, here we come.
I
It's time to get back
mean,
into classes.
it's for real. It is for real because you can't be running up on my car, throwing stuff at the car and whatever. Like I
Oh wow.
am protected in my vehicle and outside of my vehicle and in my home and everywhere. So,
Oh,
and when I
okay.
say protected, I don't just mean by the angels.
Okay, that lets you know I need to teach my kids
You
how to
do.
shoot.
You definitely do. You
How to
definitely
hunt.
do. They start with a little revolver. It's cute. You don't have to worry about it getting stuck or none of that. It's great. There's
Oh,
always
this is
fire.
welcome to Trump's America. She was like, we were doing this with Biden's
I'm
America.
about to
We
say
were
I
doing
was
this
doing
with
it
Biden's America.
long before. Just like
For some
Colin
reason, I
came
feel the
around.
call.
Colin came around kneeling, not standing. I was like, child, we've been doing that since 1984.
That's true. That's true. I'm surrounded by people that carry. Most of the people I know carry. I think I'm the only one in my group who does
Time for
not
you to
carry.
get with the program. Time for you to get with the program.
I'm
You're
going to
right
get with the
down the
program.
street from a couple of spots.
Really? Over here?
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Until
The next
next
episode.
episode, blessings, everybody. Get strapped and make it right with the Lord.
Amen. What she said. What she
Amen.
said. Bye, everyone.
Bye.